Hi guys, so welcome back to my channel. If you don't know me, I'm Courtney Ann. So it was recently Valentine's Day, so my parents got me this little kitty. I have the best parents ever, bro. But this little Hello Kitty hoodie. It's so cute. I don't know if you guys can see it. It has a little Hello Kitty on the back too. I'm obsessed with it, so this whole video is just an excuse for me to show off this new hoodie. No, I'm just kidding. But so I've recently become addicted, as you guys know. I love reading. I've made that very clear on this account. If you do know me, if you're new, welcome. I'm so happy you're here. But so I've been watching a lot of those videos that are, I would say I guess book talk controversy. So I don't have TikTok, but I see book talk through many reposted Pinterest and through people who will talk about the drama of it on YouTube and all those reaction videos, which I love those creators. I obviously can't speak for all of them, so I haven't watched all of them, but the ones that I watch I generally think are so funny, and I don't know, I adore those videos. So anywho, but I've seen a lot of specifically I just watched a video, and this is no hate to anyone involved in any of the drama, but I watched a video about Haley Famp, I believe is how you say her name. I used to watch her when I was in middle school. I loved her videos. I just haven't watched any in a while. I have nothing bad to say about her. But she recently published a book, I believe, called Just Friends. And I was just watching a video of someone talking about a mean review on it. And I've been walking around my room just having conversation with myself about how I think judgmental the online book community has become over the years, especially having been here since I was 12, right? And I'm now in my junior year of high school, which I know isn't very old, or especially as long as many other people have been readers, but for me that's a long time, right? And such a big portion of my life. But anywho, so my point is, I've been walking around my room talking to myself. It's I might as well just film a video and talk to you guys. So anyway, I expect this video to be very short and just a quick little, talk with Courtney. But I know I did that before, where it was more just what was it, late night talks with Courtney, and that video ended up being 40 minutes. I don't expect this to be the same, but I guess we'll see. So I apologize if this ends up being really long. I'm so sorry. I don't expect it to be though, because once again I've been having this conversation with myself, so I think I've got most of my ranting out of the way. I'm gonna get to the point. So I feel I have a fair opinion about book reviews, and I think that there's people will get really mad if they're very cruel, but at the same time you do want an honest opinion, because people are that's how you decide what you're gonna read. I have this whole journal right here. That's the books I've read of all these books that I want to read, right? And this journal is not full. Literally every single page after that is empty. But I filled up the first 4 or 5 pages, books that I'm really interested in reading that I do not yet own. So I know what books to look for, and I write a little bit of what I like about them. And once again, you get that from book reviews. So it makes sense for book reviews to be honest, even if that is sometimes a little more critical, right? That makes more sense to me. I do think that you have to be a little understanding, right? That someone put so much work into this, right, when explaining your book review. Once again, I'm not hating on anyone for their book reviews. That's not what this is about. I'm just hating on 2 specific things I want to talk about, okay? And I need to talk to someone, and you guys are here, and I'm so happy that you are. So I keep repeating myself. I'm very bad about that. Anywho, my point is that book reviews, I think that makes sense for me. Crucial. Obviously, I would, at least me as a person, I'm not in any way telling other people how to live their life. I don't believe that. I have no control over what other people do, right? You have complete free will. But I do believe personally that you do have to have an understanding. People put a lot of work, typically, most people, obviously isn't true generally, obviously, but majority of writers, I would say, put a lot of work and a lot of love into the books that they write. So obviously when you are being very critical, I do try to be understanding of that. I am no way hating on people for being critical. I think that it's great, that you should give an honest review. You shouldn't sugarcoat it too much, especially since mostly that's what makes people want to buy it. I think that books, they take so much time out of you, and most people, obviously libraries exist and we want to support libraries, and I'm such a big use libraries, okay? Libraries are incredible places. At the same time, it makes sense to want to own a book. There's nothing wrong with that. And obviously when it does come to owning books, they can cost a lot of money. I've bought books recently, why is a book $30? I get a lot of my books secondhand, so I do get a lot of books that are $2, $11 right now, thank God, okay? But I do think that books, they do take a lot of money, so it makes sense the reviews should be honest, so it can help people decide, are you going to spend your money on this? And books can tend to be really long, okay? There are so many 500, 400 page books, which take a lot of time to read, so it helps you decide if you want to spend your time doing that. Anywho, I'm sorry, I'm rambling, but I'm going to get into my two little things. Right, so I have two opinions when it comes to book reviews. I just have to like set up like the scenario of like that I have no problem book reviews being super critical. I think personally I try to have a little understanding, and that it is nice to like not completely bash on this author, but like that they should be honest and that there's nothing wrong with someone giving a critical book review, because I think that artwork and stuff like that, artwork, music, movies, books, like those are things that you're putting out into the world that are meant to be judged. So there's nothing wrong with it being judged, right? But anyway, my point is I have two opinions that I'd like to talk about. That is why we are here today. So my first one is, I will say there's two things I think like take it a little too far, and obviously there are probably so many other things I'm not even thinking of that I just like it's not on my mind, right? But I think one problem that I really have is I've seen book reviews where it's okay to criticize the book and say like maybe you didn't like the characters, maybe you didn't like the writing style, maybe you thought it was too fast-paced, too slow-paced, it wasn't for you, right? But I've seen book reviews where they will criticize people who like the book, and that's when I have a big problem with it, where it's not only do you not like this book, you're now calling everyone who does like it stupid, you're insulting people who genuinely enjoyed this book, right? And I think that there's such a problem with that, especially since I feel like a lot of time it's women who are reading YA books, and I have no problem, like literally I don't care what you read. If you want to read YA, I don't care. If you want to read memoirs, I don't care. If you want to read historical fiction, read what you want to read. I think my only problem is like if you're sexualizing or romanticizing things that should not be sexualized or romanticized, that's a problem. Otherwise, read what you want to read. I don't care. I don't care if you're too old. I don't care. Okay? Like there's a lot of judgment, I feel like, for women who are like reading YA books. It's like, who cares? Who cares? Let them read what they want to read. It doesn't affect me. I like, once again, I probably like the book too, and we can talk about it. Like, yay, yippee. Okay? Like, and I feel like I'm involving myself by doing this. It's like I don't even have TikTok, so I'm not trying to be involved. I wanted to rant, so here I am. But so with that, sorry, I had a point to this. Oh yes, it's when you're insulting the reader, because I've seen a lot of YA books, like specifically My Dire. There's plenty of people who I think can read that and be like reading and like, I'm too old for this, right? And I understand that, right? Like I think that maybe that is a book that may not stand the test of time, that like I loved reading The Weavers, and I just finished it. It's somewhere, I'll find it eventually. Anywho, I just finished reading The Unbecoming My Dire. I thought it was incredible. I loved it. But I think there's a lot of people who are a little older who could read that and think like, yeah, it's kind of childish, not for me. But I've also seen people do that who will insult people who like it. So anywho, my problem with that is just the fact that like maybe you didn't like it because it wasn't for you. Like obviously YA books are targeted towards a younger audience, so it's not like, and once again, you can still give your opinion, but I think that it's a problem when you insult people who like the book. That's where, to me, I think that it's a problem. Listen, I give your opinion. Once again, if you didn't like YA book, I think even if you are older, you can still say you didn't like it. But to insult an audience that did, I think is wrong. I don't agree with that. Once again, you can insult the art. Like it would be the same with like a movie. I feel like once again, like I'm not gonna choose where I look. Oh well, actually, I didn't like reread On Vacation. I found it kind of confusing to read. I didn't particularly like the main characters. I was like 13, I think, when I first read it. My mom read it, and then I read it. She loved it. I respect her for loving it. I personally didn't. I've always said that, where it's like I didn't like it, but like I can totally understand why other people would. I think it's a fun book, but like it wasn't for me. It didn't hold my interest. I thought it was very slow personally. But I totally understand why other people like it. And I think there's so many book reviews that seem they're like bashing on people for enjoying these books, and it's like maybe it just wasn't for you. Like if that's not your taste, that's fine, but don't hate on people who enjoyed it. And then second, see, I promise this was pretty short. And here's my second opinion. Is I've seen reviews where people, and you can still give reviews, okay? Once again, I don't care if you DNF'd or didn't finish the series, you can still give a review, but I think it's important to mention that you didn't finish the book. Because I've seen reviews of Shatter Me, where people will be hating on certain characters and certain things like that, but they don't mention that they haven't read the whole series, meaning they don't know the whole story. Because I think that there's a lot of books, like I've heard The Sylvan Kingdom, I haven't read it yet, but I've heard that the first book is like a trick and you don't realize it's a trick until the second book, right? Or there are books like, I'm trying to think, what have I read? I'm actually had one, I'm trying to compare. I recently, I think like a week ago, saw a video, there's this character in here, like Prince Apollo or whatever, you've seen the first few books, and I saw a video that was like, you guys just don't like him because he's not the love interest, like why are you guys all hating on him, right? And they were very judgmental towards people who hated him. And once again, I mean, that's their opinion, who cares? But all the comments were like, you haven't read the third book yet, have you? Right? And they had, after they posted that, they ended up reading the third book and realizing why people had such a dislike for this character, and came back and was like, yeah, my bad, guys. And I feel like you should mention that when doing these book reviews, that if you have not read the whole book, and you can still judge, you can still give your opinion, I think that's completely fair. If you DNF a book, you don't like it, like first book in like a 6-book series, right? You can say that you didn't like it, that's okay, right? It wasn't for you. But please, please, please mention that you did not read the whole series. Okay, because I don't know, in my opinion, I think that's important. Because especially books like Shatter Me, books like Once My Broken Heart, there's many characters where like, just the development over time where like you didn't know things about them that now you do know, whether that's good or bad. Characters that you may have thought were meant to be evil villains that like are actually, you know, you learn more about them and realize it's a, okay, this sounds like very cliche, like they're just misunderstood, right? Like, anywho, or characters that maybe like seem like think about Frozen, okay? If someone only watched the beginning of Frozen and they were like, wow, I hate Prince Hans, or they saw other people saying, I hate Prince Hans, they were like, what are you guys talking about? Like, he's awesome. And it's like, well, maybe you think that because you didn't finish the movie. And once again, you can still give your opinion, that's fine. I just think that it's important to mention to other readers who are, you know, relying on your review to see if they want to read this book that you didn't finish it, right? Or that you haven't read the whole series. I do think that that's important to mention because I've seen many critical reviews that are very inaccurate. Anyway, and like, it's not that deep, I get it, it's a book, but like, I do think that that is something that like should be mentioned, at least in my opinion. And then finally, that actually reminded me of another little rant. So, but I swear it goes hand in hand, so it's still the second one, it's still my second complaint. I'm not adding more complaints to make this video longer, it simply reminded me of this, so I'm going on a little longer rant than previously expected. Okay, I apologize. But, so one of my favorite books is Seven Husbands and One Wife by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and I've talked about this before. I adore that book. It's been my favorite book since I was like 13. And when I was like 14, I want to say, I saw a video that was like criticizing some like popular book talk books, right? That was one of them. And nothing wrong, once again, I know that my favorite book is not for everyone. It's historical fiction. Not everyone likes that genre, not everyone's going to like it, and I totally understand that. I don't expect everyone to, but I recommend it because I truly have such a love for that book and those characters, and it means so much to me, but I understand that it's not going to mean that for every person. That's okay. And listen, you know what, I don't want to share it anyway, okay, but that's not the point. Oh my gosh. Anywho, but I saw this review that this girl was giving, and I still watched it, right, but she was like talking about that was one of them, right, and that's what intrigued me, because I was like, oh, well, why didn't you like it, whatever, right? Anywho, and she starts talking about how it was supposed to be historical fiction on Marilyn Monroe, and I want to say like how inaccurate it was or something. Sorry, I haven't seen the video in a while, but I do remember that she specifically mentioned how she was upset that it was like supposed to be, that it was advertised or supposed to be historical fiction of Marilyn Monroe, and how like, I forget what it was, I forget if it was like it was inaccurate or there's something with that she didn't like. So I'd like to clarify, for those who don't know, it's, to my understanding, Sometimes When I Know is historical fiction on Elizabeth Taylor. So I do feel that if you are going to criticize a book for certain things, like, please make sure that they are accurate. Like, it would be ridiculous, I think, for someone to take, let's say, a memoir, right? I recently read The Glass Castle by Jeanette Walls. I'd recommend it. I thought it was incredible. But, like, if someone were to take that book and then say there was no romance and they complain about that, that would make no sense. Like, it's a memoir. It's not supposed to have romance. I think to complain about something that, like, a book not having something or something like that, where it's like it's inaccurate information, same with 700 where it's like, it was inaccurate for Marilyn Monroe. That makes no sense because it wasn't about Marilyn Monroe. It's historical fiction on Elizabeth Taylor, and I will say it's very heavy, I would say, on the fiction part, but it's still an incredible book. Anywho, that's all. That's my opinion. I don't know. I've been wanting to post more book videos. I mean, I love my vlogs, and I will forever post vlogs. I don't know, I like looking back at my memories, and I will say, like, after a few months after posting it, sometimes it gets a little embarrassing. I'll question deleting it. But years later, like, I don't know, there's some from, like, my freshman year where it's like, oh, she was so cute. Like, I love her. But anywho, so I will always post vlogs, but I do want to include more book videos. But anywho, with vlogs, I also like videos like this where I can, like, put my opinions out there, not just for the general public, because like generally my videos don't like gain very much traction, which is fine by me. I mean, I like having my little community. Like the most views I think a video of mine has ever got, maybe 2,000, and I'm very grateful for that. I actually think that's great, right? For my age, someone of my age who posts like as irrelevantly, I would say, and as randomly as I do, I think that makes perfect sense, and I'm not in any way like upset about that. I'm actually very grateful. That was insane that like my video did get that many views. Like I'm not posting this, I would say, for like, I don't want this to become like, I swear if I actually see like the people that I love watching react to videos react to this, I think I'd fear for my life. Where was I going with this? Oh yes, but I like posting this is one, I would normally journal about this type of thing, but like I'm just lazy right now, okay? I just had to do an entire one-pager for my AP Euro class, which is very nice. I think it turned out very pretty, but my hand is sore, okay? And two, I like that I can then look back at like what my thoughts were, and like one day when I'm older I can look back at this video. Maybe I'll totally disagree with it, or maybe I'll completely forgot that I filmed this, but I think it would be so nice like look back at like what I was thinking when I was like you know, in high school about like, you know, like little topics like this. And I think that's so cool that like we do have that opportunity with the internet to like look back at that, and you can see exactly what you were thinking at that time, right? I don't know, I love that. Anywho, that's the point. But I really hope that you guys enjoyed. Maybe you agree with me, maybe you don't, but I just it was fun to do this for me at least, so I hope that you guys did enjoy, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.